What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Monday Night Football Breakdown. It's your boy Jason from the Lock Talk. Let's talk some locks, man. We got the New Orleans Saints versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and we got a really good game. 5.5-point spread. Let's go talk about it. But before I go off and drop these gems, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. You can say whatever you want. We actually had a killer weekend. We went 4-0 in NFL yesterday. Continuing the WNBA streak, we're at 28-10 on the season. It's absolutely incredible. And yeah, man, MLB, we went 1-1 yesterday, but because we did plus money, no loss there. So an amazing, it was a 5-unit day. Ended up the entire week up around 5 or 6 point something units. So yesterday was the big driver. So let's have another great week. I'm liking this game. I think it's going to be a very interesting game with the Saints and the Chiefs. So let me go break it down. I'm going to start off with talking about the Saints first. Let's talk about the Saints. You know, obviously they had a great start to the season, both on the offensive and defensive side. So I do want to say that a lot of the numbers that, if you look at the Saints, are a little bit skewed because they had some huge games. One of them was against the Carolina Panthers to open up the season. So, you know, and also with the Chiefs, they had some pretty difficult games in the beginning. They had the Baltimore Ravens to start off. So, tale of two different beginnings of their seasons, but now they're facing each other, and there's a lot of changes that have actually happened, so we have to be a little bit careful. But let me say this: Saints started the year out strong in weeks 1 and 2, averaging 45 points per game, but have drastically declined to 18 points per game over the last few weeks, which makes sense. I mean, that was pretty unsustainable. They played some pretty weak teams, in my opinion, and now they're facing a better lineup. I mean, they're 2-2. That shows you the competition they've been facing recently. Also, they have a big injury. The absence of Pro Bowler center Eric McCoy and right guard Cesar Ruiz has caused a lot of issues on the offensive side for the Saints. Derek Carr has gotten pressured a lot more. Pressure has dropped from 3.04 seconds to 2.33 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's huge if you're trying to get a playoff. That every half second is like a century for these guys, and that has been leading to a dramatic reduction in their passing efficiency. Obviously, you lose your center, who's the heart and soul of your offensive line. I mean, it totally makes sense. And without McCoy, I also say, I mean, Derek Carr has been pressured on 37.9% of his dropbacks compared to 18% over his first 2 games. Again, over his first 2 games, who did they face? I mean, they faced the Carolina Panthers, who, I mean, historically have been known for a really, really tough defense. But other than that, let's see, they faced the Carolina Panthers, and then they also faced the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, excluding last night where they played pretty good against the Steelers in pretty tough weather, the Steelers don't have an offense like the Saints, in my opinion. So, I mean, 2 weaker defenses. Philly, Atlanta, I mean, I'd say Atlanta is not a bad team, but I'd say Philly has a little bit of a tougher defense. But again, missing McCoy has been huge. Let's talk about the next few things about the Saints. The Saints lead the NFL in run frequency, which ranks number 1 in rush attempts, despite their OL issues. The run game has, I mean, on paper, been pretty strong. They rank 5th in success rate and 5th in EPA per rush. So, you know, obviously, we'll see how that ends up going. If you look at the team rankings right here, the one thing I will say is look at rushing yards allowed. Chiefs have done actually very, very well in that category. So we'll see how they do against the Chiefs, though. Chiefs have historically had a pretty good rush defense. But again, guys, I mean, the offensive line walls have definitely been tough. I do think this will play into the game and the game script so far. So let's go move on to, obviously, now the Chiefs. Let's take a look at the Chiefs and how they've been doing. They're on the season. Let's see, they are at least covering this number 5.5, 50%. But start the season, beat the Baltimore Ravens, played Cincinnati, also beat them. Atlanta beat them. Chiefs beat them. I mean, the Chargers beat them. So 4-0 on the season. I mean, one of the best records, if not the best record so far in the NFL. They're right behind so far the Vikings, man. So we'll see if they can go 5-0 after this game. But man, look, the Chiefs, they are without a huge injury, man. If we go through the injury report, let's see. Besides Hollywood Brown, McCall Hardman, I mean, let's see, Isaiah Pacheco, this man right here, Rashee Rice, he is out. He is gone for, I think, probably for maybe almost the entire season with that injury. Rashee Rice, he accounted for 43% of the team's receiving yards and 40.6% of first read targets in their first 3 games. So huge loss, man. I mean, before everyone was up about Kelsey and Mahomes. So far this season has been all about Rashee Rice and Mahomes, man. So Mahomes showed a decent showing. However, without Rashee Rice, completing 19 out of 29 passes for 245 yards, an 89% pass rating. But obviously, the offense is definitely a little bit less overwhelming without Rashee Rice. But how does Mahomes match up against this defense? The Saints actually have a pretty good pass defense. Let me see if I can close this out. They actually have a pretty good pass defense. Let's see if we look at the passing yards. Pass yards ranked 24th, so that doesn't really say everything. But the Saints have an excellent pass defense, ranking 4th in success rate per dropback and 4th in EPA and 3rd in pass defense DVOA. So this number is more like just pure yardage. DVOA is more advanced metric. So they have also been effective at generating pressure. They ranked 7th in pressure rate. Mahomes has actually struggled against pressure this season, posting a 66.1 pass rating when pressured, 20th in the NFL, and a 5.9% turnover-worthy play rate. So if the Saints can produce some pressure, I can see them giving some problems to Mahomes, especially missing a guy like Rashee Rice. However, I will say this, I think the numbers don't reflect this. Even though he's not doing it as well without Rashee Rice. I mean, he's a one-of-a-kind quarterback. I do think he'll figure it out. I mean, he still has Travis Kelsey and a host of other weapons that he can use at his disposal. I mean, he still has, even though he's not as good as he used to be, he has Juju Smith-Schuster and a few other guys. But one thing I want to do is say is the Chiefs' run game and the offensive line advantage. The Chiefs' run game has been really good. I mean, they ranked 2nd in success rate and 110th in EPA per rush. However, without Pacheco, their leading rusher, this could hinder their rush attack, even though they've done okay without him so far. They do have Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt is a little banged up. So we'll see how they end up doing without Pacheco, maybe a little bit banged up Kareem Hunt. But, I mean, we'll see. However, I would say this. The Chiefs' OL has been ranked 4th in adjusted line yards. And even though the Saints have been able to produce pressure, they should be able to, at the same time, give protection to Pacheco. Give protection to Mahomes in this situation. I think they'll do fine enough. However, I will say the Saints are particularly good in gap rushing schemes, which the Chiefs do use a lot of. So even though the stats say the Chiefs' offensive line will do well, their schemes actually play into the hand of the Saints. With that being said, man, I mean, obviously, we take a look. Let's take a look at the line movement. I want to see the line movement in this game. So, line opened up supposedly at 8 about a month ago or 2 months ago. But let's take a look at closer. Line opened up at maybe a few days ago. Let's see, a month ago, it's 6.5. It's dropped all the way down to 5.5. Obviously, past that key number of 6. So, where do we really go from here, man? I mean, looks like everyone was on the Saints. Now there's been a lot more people betting on the Chiefs at 5.5. It's a really tough game to call, in my opinion, man. I mean, I think the one thing I want to say or highlight is kind of the Saints. The offensive line is not as good, but they do have a shit ton of wide receiver weapons. But the Chiefs have a pretty good pass defense. On the other side, Chiefs obviously known for their really good offense. They have a good defense, particularly on the passing game. But their offensive game, they don't have Pacheco. They're missing Rashee Rice, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. So can he make something out of less? And that's the big question, man. I mean, I think 5.5, it's really tough. I think this number is really good. If it was at 6, I would probably lean with the Saints. But I do want to say this. On the defensive side of the Saints, I talked so much about the Chiefs and their offensive injuries. The Saints are also missing guys on the defensive side. They'll be without or they'll be with injuries. Pete Werner and Demario Davis. So we'll see if their injuries will affect them. Also, on the Chiefs side, Willie Gay He's been ruled out, impacting their run defense. So we'll see how they end up doing on the Saints side. I mean, obviously they're pressured a lot more. What will they do to change that so they can get Derek Carr to drop the ball out quicker? This is my conclusion, though. Given the Saints' injuries on the offensive line and the reliance on the run game, Chiefs' improved run defense could also be a key factor in this matchup. However, I do think the Saints' pass defense will be good enough to generate pressure and might limit Mahomes' effectiveness, especially with a guy like Rashee Rice. With that being said, I don't know, man. I do think the Saints, they have a good ability to outright win this game. And with that said, being able to cover this game, I think it will really depend on their ability to, on their defense, keeping the Chiefs' offense in check. That's the main thing. Can they do something to stop the run and stop Mahomes from getting big passes or even short passes to generate offense? If they can pressure Mahomes and limit their attacks, I mean, I think the Saints will be able to do well. However, I also say both offenses, I think, can have difficulties. I mean, the Chiefs have shown the ability to generate pressure, and so far, the Saints have not been able to do well when, I guess, being pressured so far this season. So, with that being said as well, I also like the under in this game. So, if we take a look at, let's take a look at the over/under. Looks like the over/under is right now at 43 points. Let's see where the line has been so far. Line opened up at 45, gotten beaten down to 43.5, 42.5. So I do like in this game the Saints. I think points can be at a premium, so I also like the under in this game as well. Even though, I mean, both teams so far this season, especially the Chiefs, obviously historically, we all know Mahomes, the Travis Kelce connection. I do think also the Saints may have a tough time generating offense as well. So give me for this video the Saints and the under. We'll see what we end up going for in premium. I definitely like some props in this game. But if you guys do want all my plays, obviously go down to the description. I put a special promo code for everyone who wants to tap in for the daily or longer term package. And again, guys, thank you so much for giving me support. We've definitely ran up the subscriber count from as low as 80 2 months ago to now 700, man. So we're 700 strong on here. Let's keep running it up, and I'll see you guys on the next one.